everyone, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of Reputation Rebuild at Auxerre with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So Auxerre won the domestic double in France, the league and the cup double in 95-96. Since then, they've won a couple of cups, but never repeated their league title win. And now we find them in the second tier of French football. Can we rebuild their reputation and put them back on top? Let's find out. So welcome to Auxerre in the second tier of French football. As I say, they have dropped off since the heady days of the mid-90s when they won the league and cup double, and we've now got to try and find a way to get them back to the top. Originally with these series, the Reputation Rebuilds, I'm giving myself 3 seasons to do that, but I think because we've found a club that's in the second tier of French football and we've got to get all the way to the top and past PSG potentially to rebuild them and put them back at the pinnacle of French football, I think we'll give ourselves a bit longer to do it. So I'm aiming for 5 seasons, but we'll have to wait and see. It might be longer than that. We'll see, but we'll see how the series goes as we progress. But we are on basically day 1. I've literally just loaded up the game. I haven't been through any of the news conferences. I haven't been through the news feed. All we're going to do today is look at the current expectation, take a little bit of a look at the playing squad, and then talk about what we're hoping for this particular season. There won't be a match to play, and then after this episode I'm going to go away and play through the rest of the summer transfer window, get us through to that first league match of the season, and then we'll talk about what we've been able to improve and change, and then get going into the league season that'll be Friday evening. So today is just a bit of an introductory session into Auxerre. So the United City FM has been hired as the manager. We've got a fairly small under-19s group of players with not a huge amount in there in terms of current ability, but a bit of potential ability. If we look at Mercier here, for example, at 16 years old, I think he's got something about him. 13 on finishing, could do with a bit more composure, but that'll come. Bit of pace, decent determination, decent heading. So this is one, for example, that we'll have to keep an eye on, because I do want to bring some youngsters through to the first team as we progress, but it's going to take a little bit of time, I think, to get to that point. So let's have a look at this guy as well. Cisse, 18 years old, so a little bit further on in development. To be honest, I don't see the potential that they're saying is in here. At 18, I would have expected him to have developed further than he has. So maybe we've got an issue in terms of what our scouts and our coaches are able to tell us about some of these players. Let's look at Theo Robert here, a goalkeeping prospect, 17. I think this guy's got a good opportunity to develop, but lots and lots of gaps already that are going to take some filling, aren't they? So the younger element of this squad is all right. There aren't enough of them, and maybe the potential that they suggest is here. I'm not quite sure I totally agree with. Similarly, in the Auxerre 2 side, we've got a reasonable amount of players here, but could still do with some more. I think the balance isn't quite right in the squad. It's a little bit small, but there isn't a huge amount of potential here either. You can see that there's some 2, 3.5 star potential players. There's a couple in there at 4.5. So let's look at this guy, Leighton, Sonny Leighton, 19-year-old goalkeeper. I don't see the potential here. They're saying he's a 4.5 potential star player compared to what we've got in the club, of course, not world football, just in the club. But having had a look around, I think we've got much better than this available to us even now. And I don't see him improving. At 19 years old, he's got to be further along than he currently is. So where's the other one down here? We've got a 5-star potential in this guy, Feitosa. And he is a central midfield player, but the passing isn't there. At 18 years old, no determination. His mentals are really poor. So I think we're going to have to basically leave this to by the wayside for now. and we'll have to reimagine our youth setup and our Auxerre 2 setup as we progress through the next couple of seasons and see if we can get some better potential into the club. So that will take us into our first team squad, which is reasonable in terms of size, but is a little bit lopsided. You can see that we've got 5 recognised strikers, but I also know that Duguimon is basically another striking option as well. He says he can play wide right, but he also plays naturally as a target man up front as well. So that's 6 strikers in this setup. It looks like we might be playing 2 up front, doesn't it? If not 3. We'll have to wait and see what we do formation-wise. It's going to be an interesting one to figure out. What I can tell you from looking through this squad already very briefly, and it's just been very brief, is that we have a very imbalanced defence in terms of our left-back options. You can see both of them are pretty good, and they are reasonably good. Boto here, for example, is probably the backup left-back that we've got in the second tier of French football. Remember, we're not at the heights yet, and I think he's reasonable, I would say, which is decent with some good pace. So that's Boto. If we go in above him into Bernard, and you can see this is probably going to be the main guy that we use. His tackling isn't great, but he's a decent offensive fullback, I would say. And so we'll more than likely use him for a lot of the season. So that's what we have at left back. But at right back, Arcus, it's just not quite good enough. There's some great pace and stamina, but the rest of it is a bit kind of meh. Excuse me. So that's Arcus. And then the other option is Yusuf. And again, some really good pace, but the rest of it is a bit meh. So I think we might have to get rid of one of these maybe and bring in a slightly better starting right back. And we will play 4 at the back, I would assume. I can't see why not. We've got a couple of decent defenders here. Let's have a look at Belugu. You can see that he's reasonable. Bit more tackling would be great. 32 years old, so his pace is going a little bit, but there's some experience in there, which is helpful. Is that actually, that's going to be more of a defensive midfield player, isn't he? It's this guy. Yeah, Suprayan is going to be one of our central defenders, and I think at 30 he's got some experience as well. This is the guy I meant to show you. I just don't know this team yet. But I think, you know, if we're anywhere around the 13, 14 mark for key attributes, I think that's not too bad for the level that we're in. And let's have a look at this one as well. Kuef. He's going to be one of our central midfield players again in the holding role. So he will rotate in and out with Belugu. And so the other central defender that we've got is we've got these two up here. We've got Yao, who isn't quite good enough, is he really? At 20, I'd expect more. And then the other one is Bar. And again, he's got some good stuff about him. Heading is great. So work rate is fantastic, some very good physicals, but really poor tackling, and I'm not sure what I feel about that, putting a defender in the midst of our in the middle of our defensive unit with such bad tackling. So you can see the defensive unit is a bit imbalanced. We're going to have to work on it. There's some good players in here though, the likes of Saki. Hamza Saki is going to be one of our attacking midfield players. I suspect we'll be playing at least one, maybe 2 of them, maybe. Depends on the formation and how many strikers we play. But I think this guy's got something about him, which is positive. That's good. In terms of the striking options that we've got, because we've got so many of them, this is the guy that they think has got the highest potential. Again, not sure, but he's only 17, so we will keep him in around the squad maybe, or we might drop him back for one season just to develop him. But he's got something about him, but not quite there yet. So in terms of what we've got starting options, Bihan. Le Bihan is our number 1 guy. Brought in this summer. We'll check out what Auxerre have already done in the transfer market in a minute. But this is basically going to be our number 1 striking option for the season, whether we play 1 or 2 strikers up front. And there's 1 or 2 others in here. Saki we've already had a look at. Let's have a look at Adioti. And he's going to be another holding midfield player. So we've got quite a number of them. So do we play 2 in the holding midfield role? Maybe. Maybe we could play a 2 and then a 1 in central midfield and a 2 attacking and a 1 striker and go through the middle. Maybe we could play the diamond in midfield with 1 or 2 strikers up top. What would you want to see? Because it doesn't look like we've got the wide men, and it's be quite a thing to be able to turn us into an attacking form with 2 wide men when we don't have any. We'd have to go and find them. Not sure our budgets are up to that. We'll have a look at the budget in a minute properly as well. So yeah, let me know what you would do with this sort of squad. It looks like we've got lots of central midfielders of varying sorts, defensive through to attacking. We've got a slight imbalance in the defence that we'll need to sort out. We've got plenty of striking options, a couple of which are reasonable, so we could play 2 up front, and we do have a bit of a problem with not many wide men. So it kind of makes us go through the middle, isn't it? But what would you play? What formation would you play? Let me know in the comments below. So if we come out of the squad just for a minute and look at the finance of the club, they're not too bad actually. 5 million in the bank overall, 1.2 million in the transfer fund with £375 a week left for wages, which isn't great. We probably chuck some of the transfer budget into the wages and see if we could loan a couple of players, maybe that's the way to go forward. I'll have to wait and see what I can do in that, but it's not too bad in terms of the financial structure of the club. If we go and have a look at the transfer window so far, because obviously we joined partway through the transfer window, so they've been going already. They've got rid of 3.7 million worth of player, but one basically, Fomba went out, and you can see that he's reasonably good. It's a shame that we can't use him at the age of 21. He would have been useful to us. Good determination, some reasonable physicals, passing a 13, so he would have been helpful to us, but he's gone, so we can't worry about that. Other than that, most of it has been players going out on free transfers and a couple of loans, etc. And we bought in 650k's worth of player, but actually it could be a little bit more than that because there's a couple of undisclosed fees in here. But it's Sorgic, another of our striking options that has had the most money spent on him, and you can see that he'd be a very, very good partner as a poacher for Bihan, who is the other one that's come in as a target man. So there's a target man poacher strike force there potentially. I think we could get some goals. It's just about whether we can keep them out at the back maybe. So yeah, you can see that the club have done some reasonably good business already, but we aren't finished yet. We need to go and find a way to balance that defence out a little bit. Let's go and have a look in the competition page in the Domino's League 2. And the title holder of Metz, who've just gone up. There's some big clubs in here. If we just go to the season preview, you can see we're currently expected to finish in 6th. I want higher than that if I can, but anywhere in the top 6 from this point would be pretty good, I guess. But look above us, Le Havre, Troyes, Lens, Lorient, Guingamp, all teams that I kind of know a bit about here and there from French football. So this is going to be a tricky division to get out of, maybe. We don't have any players in the Dream 11 at this point. The 2 that we've got as our best players are Belogu, our defensive midfielder, who we had a look at. And the second is obviously Bihan, the striker. So those are the 2 best players that the media think that we've got. But yeah, it's going to be tricky, this, getting out of this particular division. It looks like there's some decent sides in there. If we go and have a look at my profile, what I've done is I've lined it up with Auxerre's. So they've given me, I think, the Continental A license and the national playing, the professional football national level. So not at the height by any stretch, and we've got some room for improvement. You can see that I've got 1 or 2 very good ratings and not a lot else. It's just how I set my stuff up, really, to give myself some good tactical knowledge and some good motivating, and see if we can build a team through that. In terms of the staff, I haven't really gone and had a look at the staff, to be honest, at this point. So let's go and have a look in here. Reasonably good ratings in terms of these individual ratings for each of these setups, but not too many in the recruiting and the medical that are sort of leading the division. So we might have to improve there a little bit. 1 or 2 here, though, that are leading the division for the highest average in the Ligue 2. So that's not too bad. Some good stuff. I'll have to investigate them a little bit more. But you can see we've got some gaps here as well that we can fill in terms of more scouting staff, etc. So there's lots and lots to do, as you would imagine, as we first join a club. But that gives you a very, very brief look at what we've got to work with. So what do I want to work in between now and next episode? One, we're going through the transfer window, so we have to figure out who to bring in. Is there a buy out there we can people we can buy in, or do we have to loan maybe? We'll have to look at that. We've then got to figure out the formation and the structure of play. Let me know what you would do. I'm going to go off and do my own thing in the next 24 hours, but let me know what you would do, how you would set this side up. If we're going to play through the middle with a narrow formation, what would you do? The diamond with 2 up top, or would you put an extra man in midfield and go sort of 5 in midfield but centrally and then 1 up top? Let me know what you think. I think I'm definitely going to play 4 at the back. That's pretty much a given at this point. But there we go. That's Auxerre. They have hired us to come in and do a job. We've got a few seasons to try and get us out of the division and up into the top division, and then see if we can move this club forward. So the facilities are reasonable. Our stadium holds 18,000 all-seater, so that's not too bad, although maybe we could boost that as we move up the divisions a little bit. The rest of it, though, I think is pretty good. But we have a history that we have to try and bring back to this club. Can we do it? We're going to spend the next few seasons giving it a good go. I hope you're going to enjoy the ride with me. Get involved as much as you can. Let me know what you think about the choice of team and whether you've had any experience with them yourself. If you've had some experience of managing Auxerre this year, let me know how it went in the comments below. But that's going to basically do it for today. There's not much else I want to tell you about. Things will have changed by the time we come back. So I hope you'll join me for that. But for now, thanks very much for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel and join my United City community, the more the merrier, and keep up to date with the video releases that I make. Click the like button on this particular episode. Helps this series get off to a really good start. The more people seeing it, the better it is for the growth of this particular series and obviously for my channel. Until next time though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.